What is up? It's been a minute. Miss you. Just kidding. But no, yeah. I'm gonna make this kind of a little different video. I'm still gonna talk about what I mentioned in the title, but I kind of want to explain a little something first. This isn't the video I plan to make. So this isn't necessarily the video I plan to like make or post. Put my hat on because my hair kept on falling on my face. Anyways, came back from a little trip that I had planned to record, but I didn't record much. Things didn't go necessarily to plan, and some things just didn't work out. So I feel like it's not a video worth making anymore, even though I've started filming it like a week or two. But anyways, so to stick to my goal of doing a video a week, I'm going to show you this webinar that I did for free like a couple of years ago instead. So at least this way, whatever I am posting, instead of like scrambling and trying to make a video, hopefully this video is going to be helpful and you pull some things that help or things you haven't thought about before. So it's about social media and branding, to sum it up. Yeah, it's not short, but it's not super long either. I'm going to cut out some parts that were more for when it wasn't live. But in the meantime, you're watching that. I'm going to put my gear up, get this like looking a little bit nicer because I don't know, I just came and just dumped everything here. So yeah, while you're watching the video, I'm gonna clean up. I'll kind of give like a little mini outro at the end. I hope something from this helps, and then I'll see you in a bit.
So usually I start with because mostly people don't know me, but you guys know me. So um some of you know I've been doing photography for a very long time, like about 11 years. And I've been doing it professionally for about 5 to 6. And everything I'm going to be talking about today, I constantly do, and it's always helped me to turn my my followers into clients. I don't have a huge following. I mean, I have 3K, which is nice. I'm proud of it. It's not like a million, but I'd rather have these 3K that are actually paying for my services versus having a million of people who just don't care to buy anything. So like sometimes a follower count doesn't truly matter. It matters superficially because people think the more followers you have, the more better you're going to be or whatnot. But in reality, to me, having followers doesn't really pay my bank account in a sense because yes, attention is the new currency. So if you have attention, then you're in the right spot. But again, it's superficial. So it matters to possibly the wrong people, possibly the right people to you. So everything I'm going to show you, I hope it helps you in the sense of like whenever you get a new follower, what are my best practices on doing that and how I convert them, and like how to better streamline your Instagram and social media and things like that. So that way you have more. I hate to say longevity, but because like how we have different multiple platforms and how to best utilize all of them, in my opinion. Now, this is just what works for me. I hope this works for you. I'm not saying this is a one like all like this is the magic ticket for everything. So there's still gonna be participation on your side, right? But for the most part, I'm gonna show you what works out for me. So let me get my keynote going. Share screen. Alrighty. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the reason why I want to talk about this is like basic like marketing skills or whatever business is be where the people are at. And right now the people are on Instagram, social media, TikTok, and all things like that, right? So it's one of those unfortunate things like, oh, I hate social media. I hate what it does to people. It doesn't really do anything to people. It just exposes people. But that's another conversation. But right now, unfortunately, your clientele is going to be on social media. So you just have to kind of learn how to play the game versus like I hate to say complaining about it. I'm not saying that you are, but some people majorly do, right? This is just an overview of what I'm going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be talking about what to post, and also a little bit of what not to post, branding and why it's important and why you should start thinking about it. And then also a little bit more on Instagram, and then I have an activity towards the end. So starting off with like Instagram and like why I have the picture of this dude. So back then, a handshake used to be your first impression of people, like how you shook their hand, how you said hello, your elevator pitch, like things like that. And elevator pitch, for example, is if you were in an elevator with somebody and you have that elevator time, how can you best explain what you have to do slash offer, what your business does in that short period of time? So that's what an elevator pitch is. But essentially now, especially with arts and media and things like that, the first thing is, can I see your Instagram? What's your Instagram? Let me follow you on Instagram. So if you don't have your Instagram streamlined in a sense of at least having your content controlled, meaning if you want to be posting about drawing, photography, or anything like that, it's best to try to keep it in that realm as much as possible and not a whole bunch of like selfies of you partying, which is fine every now and then because people like to be relatable and be able to relate to people. But if it's a little too much of that, it becomes a little uninteresting. So like a quick example would be if like I feel weight loss trainers and like muscle trainers have this like thing that they kind of have to pick. Either if you're are you going to be a trainer that focuses on losing weight, or are you going to be a trainer that focuses on gaining mass? Because if I'm looking for somebody who I want them to teach me how to lose weight, I find this person that I think is going to be the expert in that. And then the next post is, oh, let me show you how to gain weight. I'm like, I don't really care about gaining weight. Like, I thought you were going to be my weight loss expert. So that's kind of the example of what I'm trying to like say, like try to keep your content to what it's supposed to be and not too left field or too 50-50. It's okay every now and then to sprinkle in a little bit about you or a little bit of whatever. But for the most part, yeah. And then the headshot, dude, the headshot is now your new first impression. So for example, I have a friend of mine that she chose her online therapist based on her headshot first, then read the profile and then picked that person. Same thing with real estate agents. That tends to happen a lot. People pick their real estate agent based on their headshot first. LinkedIn, things like that. So your headshots become a little bit more important. So if you have something of just a selfie, but like the MySpace selfie, if you put some effort into it, like having it at the window light, like that's still fine, right? If you did it with your phone, doesn't really matter. I'm just saying a little bit more effort versus like, okay, this is me bored at work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just something to keep in mind. So things that I like to talk about as far as like what to post, don't just post the final result. A lot of people love to see a comeback story, becoming of how it got started from A to B, because a lot of people like that to learn, like to see how things like work in that sense. So like diversifying your post also, that helps in the sense of using each platform for their respective uses, which I'll talk in a bit. But yeah, a lot of people like to see, especially like, have you ever heard of somebody like, oh, I started following him since he first started like doing shows in my hometown, and now he's blowing up, and like people love to see the before, during, and after, and not just the final result only. So it's something a little bit to think about. A little bit of who you are, because again, a lot of people like really I can't say the word right now, relatability. So for example, do you guys know like about Peter McKinnon? So there's this guy, Peter McKinnon. If you guys look him up on YouTube, he teaches how to do photography and videography, but he posts a lot of his like hobbies and interests. So like how he likes coffee, how he likes working with leather, how pocket knives are his thing. He shows a lot about himself. He also likes magic. So the little things like that make it relatable because like, for example, for me, I used to do magic when I was younger. So that was a cool, like, oh, that's cool. Like I have something that relates to him or things like that. So see, people like that I can't say that word right now. Relatability. So if you post a little bit of your interests, your hobbies, I say that's something you can keep in your stories. But even like if you do it on your regular feed, you're still fine. And then staying away from anything offensive. Opinions are fine. Actually, if you have opinions, you might have a bit of a stronger following, but it has to be, I would tend to try my best to stay away from anything political or religious, because those are two triggers for people easily. And that's like, to me, an unnecessary reason to lose potential business. I don't want my opinion of what I feel my beliefs and values are to stop me from making money. Now, because we're in an offensive culture now, it's best to just try to agree to disagree and just let it go and be like, yeah, sure. Like, okay, cool. Like whoever you voted for is the best. Awesome. I don't care. I kind of just want your money right now. I just want to provide the best service that I can because I got stuff that I need to do. So that's just my recommendation. Now, if your whole content is about that, then obviously you would focus on that. But I try to have people I try to have people to try to steer away from that, because to me it's an unnecessary reason to lose not only followers but to lose money and clientele. So one thing I did want to talk about is how there's so many platforms out there, right? And I've noticed a lot of people are starting to find either they hear the wrong advice or hear the correct advice but do it the wrong way. For example, if you have a reel that you made, or for example, TikTok, I think it's usually the other way. If you have a TikTok that you made and then you put it on Instagram, it's not going to perform the same, because now it's almost as if, well, what's kind of the point of me going over to all of your other platforms if I'm going to see the same thing over and over anyways? Or like, for example, like if I have a chain of Mickey D's, because I just have my Mickey D's coffee, that's what came first. So let's say I have Mickey D's, right? I have one here in San Antonio and I have one in Austin. And I try to tell you, hey, I just opened up the one in Austin, you should go check it out. And probably, at least for me, my first question is going to be, well, what's different? Is it the same? Is there like a different menu or anything? And for me to be like, nope, it's exactly the same thing, same taste, same menu, same everything. It doesn't make too much sense for me now to want to make the drive to go over there to get the exact same thing I can get from here. So that's why sometimes it can happen that, like, if you're making videos for YouTube and then for Instagram and then for TikTok, that is not performing the same because you're putting the same thing in different places. Like one example that I saw somebody do, I wish I can remember the name, but it was, I believe, her wedding. So on her Instagram, she had photos of the finished wedding dress and the finished wedding look. Then she said, if you want to check out how we did the makeup, go check out my TikTok. On the TikTok, they did like a quick video on how the makeup was done. And on both platforms, they said, if you want to see how we did the whole styling and the whole everything, go to the YouTube channel. That was a perfect example of how to get people to go to different places and still using them in their respected forms. And then even on that YouTube, she said, if you want to check out the photos from this wedding shot that we did, go to my Instagram. So there was a reason to go check out all of her social medias. You want to start trying to thinking about something similar. Now, what I've heard, the advice that's been given a lot, which I think is been kind of taken a little bit of the wrong way. It's like if you make one big YouTube video, breaking that into small bite sizes into the other platforms. But I would still try to keep it separate, meaning, let's say you have 3 key points, and it could be, let's say your video was about Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube or Twitter, maybe, right? So then on your Instagram, put the videos that you were snippets of videos of you talking about Instagram. Then put snippets of your Twitter onto your Twitter account. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but using that one big content thing, breaking that into smaller pieces, putting them still in their own separate thing, because you don't want to have that one video on all of them. And then it goes back to what I was saying. People are not going to want to follow your other accounts because it's going to be the same thing, different day. So just a little food for thought. Try to look up and research how people are using each platform for right now. For example, Facebook, that one's a little bit more acceptable to have a long form typing form. Instagram, the photos and the reels. And then TikTok is like your quick tutorials. And then YouTube is your long form tutorials. So anytime you have something that pertains to each platform, I recommend using the platform for what it was intended for. Now, speaking of Instagram, hashtags. There's always been this little, I hate to say debate, but more so controversy that I've heard and seen from both sides. I've heard you want to utilize every hashtag that you can so that we can get the most engagement and the most chance of being seen. For example, I think it was like 25 or 30 that you can use at a time. Then I've heard the opposite. I heard that some people within the organization of Instagram say just keep to the best keywords, maybe 5, anywhere from 3 to 5 of what actually pertains to your posting. Because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You don't want to use hashtags of weight loss, weight gain on the same post because it's going to contradict. And then people are going to be turned off by that. So I say maybe do a happy medium and see where you fall. Do hashtags of what actually pertains to whatever it is you're posting, but still trying to keep them condensed to the fact like this is the meat and potatoes of what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about, like, for example, me, how I shoot with my film camera, I'm going to post, shot with this camera, shot with the film that I use, and then the lighting that I use, because at least these are hashtags that are pertaining to the equipment. I'm not going to say shot with my film, but then I edited that I do digital, and then that I do this and I do whatever. Like it's the stuff that's going to contradict might not work for me as well. Looking for clients using search. This one's easier for me to explain in the headshot sense, but I want you to start thinking about it, how you can turn it to what you do. So for example, if I wanted to do strictly headshot photography, I would start searching, let's say San Antonio realtors, because that's where I live, in San Antonio. So San Antonio realtors, and I start going through the accounts and I start looking at their profiles and I start checking to see who has a weaker headshot, for lack of a better word, whether it be because they did it with their cell phone or because they took a photo with a friend and they did that like ugly crop where you see their friend's shoulder. So I look for stuff like that and I'll reach out to them and I'll be like, hey, like I'm a headshot photographer in San Antonio. I just wanted to reach out, see if you're interested in doing a professional headshot session. I don't know if you've done one before, or I kind of just shoot my shot. It's almost like dating. It's weird because you do have to go and shoot your shot, because you are going to be in a point where like you might have to get several no's to get that one yes. And again, it kind of is like dating. I forgot to change it. So I put great new followers. I meant to say greet new followers. So what I typically do, anytime I get a new follower, I'll go through their profile. I might find like a photo or two that I like, and then I'll figure out their name. I'll send them a message saying like, hey, Sarah, like, thanks for following me. I really like that picture of you wearing that cool yellow dress. I don't know. If you're ever interested in doing a photo shoot, let me know. I'd love to give you more info. And again, I hate to compare it because I compare everything to food and relationships. You're going to find that out really fast. But so I'll usually show my shot that way. Like, hey, I really like your look. I really like the way you pose, whatever. And again, it's because I'm a photographer, it's easier for me to say this. But maybe even if you were like a logo designer, you can go up to them saying like, hey, I really love your product. I like the cookies that you make. If you ever need a designer for packaging, whatever, I'm here for you. Let me know. I got you. Or whether you do video or whether you do, I don't know, illustration, whatever creative field that you're in, you can always kind of like twist it to your own way. So I always greet my new followers, tell them like, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate your follow. And then I try to start that conversation at least of planting the seed that I can help you. High traffic areas. So this one I do and I don't agree with. It just depends on how you use it. Meaning, if you're going to do a post, instead of just posting the city that you're in or the general area, if let's say you go to a shopping center that there's a pretty heavy foot traffic, you can try to post something that's in that ballpark at least. But if you make a post on like, I don't know, taking a photo of your coffee and like tagging that high traffic area, people use Instagram sometimes to look around and see what pictures people took, what food is available. So that way your photo will have a chance of popping up in that high traffic area. The reason why I say I don't agree with it is like if you're living nowhere near downtown or your business is nowhere near downtown and you keep posting stuff that you're in downtown, it creates that like inconsistency. So it starts to look like you're not genuine. So use it wisely. So if you're going to be posting in high traffic areas, at least try to find a way that it truly pertains to you. Social media, be social. Commenting on others, it's always nice to get comments back, but for some reason it makes it hard for us to go out and comment on other people. It really is like a social media. So you want to be social. Also be genuine and legitimate. You don't want to just go put like a little heart or a little smiley face just because you're supposed to be commenting. Like, check out the photo. Like, what is it that you liked about it? And let them know. Whether it be, again, because I'm a photographer, I think of photographer terms, but however you do in your field, you could just say, well, I really like the angle that you did. I don't know. It could be as cheesy as that, but just a little bit more than just a fire emoji and like saying, okay, you look cute. Make content for your ideal client. This is huge because a lot of us sometimes don't have our ideal client in mind. We usually just shoot a shot. It's kind of like, what's that game, darts? A lot of us with our posts, we just tend to close our eyes and just like shoot and hope for the best and hope I hit something. You want to try to like hone in on your target, right? Because if you're just shooting just to shoot and see what happens, you're more than likely going to miss a whole bunch of times. Now, if you at least try to aim, you still might miss, don't get me wrong, but at least you have a more calibrated, you have a better strategy to be able to implement. So with branding, I want to talk just a little bit about it because this could be a whole session on its own, but a lot of people undermine it or get the wrong idea because branding and marketing are starting to form. They used to be cousins. Now they're becoming a little bit more like siblings, almost twins. So there's still a little slight differentiation about it. So your target audience, you want to have you want to start thinking of what your target audience likes to do. So, what is your voice and what is your why? So, who's your target audience? If you have somebody, the reason why I put like the beer and wine, there's so many different beers and wines, but this has a brighter, more colorful branding. Some of them might have a darker red and blacks or red and maroons to try to give like that luxury feel. You want to attract because birds of a feather flock together, right? So you want to attract people who I don't want to say are like you, but would be like your brand. So if your business had a personality, what kind of personality would it be? Is it like somebody who, or it doesn't even have to be somebody, but is it somebody who's very clean, chic, minimal? Like I'm kind of just describing Apple, or is your brand more loud? Is it more prideful? Is it more colorful? What would your business? What kind of personality would your business have if it was a person and an entity? So you have to think about it as its own thing. Now, if you're doing a personal brand, what part of your personal brand are you trying to show? Because if you might be a family orientated person, but if you want to keep your family life separate and private, you wouldn't try to keep coming off as that family orientated person. Now, it's okay if hints of it come out, right? But I guess in the sense of you don't want to focus on something that you don't want people to focus on. I don't know if that makes sense. But you want to try to find your voice. What is your why? Because your why is very big. It's what is your driving force. It's what helps you give you your determination. Because the more determined you are, the further you're going to be. Because determination is going to take you way further than motivation. So just little things to think about as far as like if maybe even just that question alone should help you out. If my business was or entity was its own personality, what kind of personality would it have? And that we can start thinking about because everybody thinks about logo, colors. It shouldn't be just that. What do you believe in? What are your values? What are you looking to bring and help other people? How is it that you're going to be? If you haven't thought about this, I highly recommend it because this is what I was talking about your target. If you again just close your eyes, just shoot your shot and hope something happens, you're never going to find your tribe, your people, your clients. So one of the things I like to do is this. We have to come up with a personality. So thinking about it as if it was a real life person. This real life person, once I come up with their profile, as we call it, I can now create content and marketing specifically for that one person. Now, that's just the idea, the activity, or the strategy. It doesn't mean you're literally just trying to attract one person. But you'd be surprised how many people actually fall in line to your brand and what you want and your ideal client to be more than you think. The more you kind of hone in and specialize a little bit more, the more people you're going to find. It's the strangest thing because the more you try to please everybody, you please nobody. Once you find your crew, your tribe, kind of like music, there's some people who are diehard country fans. There's some people that are not, like me. There's some people that love jazz. Once you find your tribe, you can now know where to go because sometimes a lot of people have the idea or the like. Let's say, for example, somebody's a headshot photographer and you keep going to wedding venues. It doesn't work out. And people are wondering, how come nobody wants my stuff? How come nobody wants my drawings? How come nobody wants my writing? You're kind of presenting and selling it to the wrong people. Meaning if I was let's say I had a rap album and I go to a country music label record, I cannot keep getting mad for me selling the wrong thing to the wrong people. I need to find all of my rap stations or whatever, right? Whether it be hip hop, techno, whatever it is, I need to find where those people are at. And the only way I can do it is by doing this little activity and honing in on who's my ideal client. So, for example, what's their name? Where are they from? Where do they shop? What's their age? What's their annual income? Do they have kids? So if you guys will play along with me just for a little bit, just type it into the chat box. Whatever first name I see, I'm going to go with. So let's create a profile together. And what is their name? Somebody just tell me their name and I'm going to run with it. Show you what this information gives me. So Jane is from Dallas. So Dallas, there's a certain kind of mentality there. There is a certain lifestyle or income level you need to have. So if she's at 45, she might be comfy a little bit. She might be maybe struggling a tiny bit. She might be in that range, right? Between struggling and comfortable. She's 27. So she, in my mind, is what I call it, the new money. So there's old money, new money, or young money. So her values and what she cares about and what she's willing to spend money on or might be a little bit different than somebody who's 65, 50 in what they're willing to spend on and what they value. So if she's divorced, she has one kid, let's say for whatever example, because I know there's some photographers in here. So photography, if she's 27, she has a kid, we now know time is going to be an issue. So we have to get her in and out because she more than likely, if she's divorced, she's more than likely going to have to hire a nanny or a babysitter or whatever to come to your shoot. So now you know you're going to have to be fast and efficient, and or your environment or your studio or whatever has to be family friendly, that there could be kids around. Then she's 27. So depending on what you offer, it has to be, and that she's at 45K. So meaning she doesn't have the kind of income that she can just blow on luxurious stuff like it's nothing. It's a very huge difference between like 75K or 100K, where it's like, okay, well, that they're probably somebody who likes to shop at Louis Vuitton or something. And they don't mind spending money. So now you have to come up with a product and a service that best suits, one, her age, two, she has a kid. You have to be aware of that. It's going to cost her money to come see you and get your services. And then the divorce, she could be maybe not all there because it depends on how recent, right? But like there's now we can go that big rabbit hole. But maybe it was recent and she needs a little bit more reassurance, or maybe if it was like a boudoir shoot, it'd be a whole different scenario. And if she shops at Target, you know that she doesn't shop for just the cheapest. She's not like a dollar store person, but she also doesn't shop like at, I don't know, whatever's next that's super expensive. Like I keep saying Louis Vuitton, but like she doesn't have truly the income or the time or she doesn't value those big ticket items so much. So now you know what range you're in, right? Does this make sense a little bit? Does this help of why I wanted to talk about ideal client and why these questions come into play? Because like whenever I do this with my other students, luckily this one was interesting because usually I get joke names. I get like joke places, joke whatever. So I have people that will tell me, oh, they make 100K, but they shop at Walmart and they're from New York or something. So maybe if I were to go the other end, let's say Jane was from New York. Let's say she does make 100K. And let's say she's 45 and she has one kid and she's married. Now, your marketing and your establishment and your service is going to change. Meaning, if she makes 100K, she shops at Prada. You now know that your service or your product or whatever you offer has to be at that standard, because she's going to have those standards because that's where she shops. She's used to that kind of money. And if she's closer to her 45, maybe 50, she doesn't care about the same things that a younger person does. So she might not care about having the latest, greatest, whatever. She might, right? But like now you can kind of have a better ideal. And now you can start thinking, okay, does my product and or service attract this person? And if not, what are things you can start doing? Maybe start researching Target and how and why they attract the people they attract. Because then you can start creating kind of marketing similar. Don't copy, but let's say because their videos are very fast paced and bright. Cool. Now you know to make your videos a little bit fast paced and more bright. Maybe because their content is more family friendly. Then cool. Like, I don't know if this makes sense. Is this helping a little bit? Because once you have your target audience or your ideal client, you can start marketing and creating everything for that one person. I recommend trying this and doing it with two. Doing your current client, so you see where you're at and what you're currently attracting, and then your future client. Even then, with your future client, split it into two, have a male and a female, unless your business is 100% female. Like, for example, for me, like it would be boudoir or lingerie company or whatever, right? So you want to make it specific to that. Now, what I want us to do is go ahead and grab a pen and paper or something to type with, or like how I was doing it on my phone. You can grab your laptop. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. What I'm going to do is now we're going to do this individually. I'm asking for 5 minutes of your time to really do this for yourself and your business and your service. I'm going to put up the questions again. I'm going to put 5 minutes. I'm going to play a little song. If I can get you to do it for at least for 5 minutes with me here right now, I at least know that when you're ever ready in the position to where you need to do this for yourself, you can say, you know what, I already did it before. It didn't even take me that long. I can now do my 2 and my current. Everybody's okay with that? You guys are good with me and to play along with me for, I'm just asking for 5 minutes. So go ahead and start grabbing all your materials, whatever you need to write it down. And we'll get going. Let me set my timer. So now, yeah, see how I was talking about, if you can at least do it for 5 minutes, you can go deeper than this. You can start going like, okay, are they married? Let's say they are. Are they gay, straight, both? Because now you can start like that's going to open up a whole can of worms too. Even then, like, okay, well, she likes to shop at Gucci. What kind of car does she drive? What kind of job does she have? Where's that money coming from? Because let's say she works in tech. Okay, well, maybe I can start making my product and my marketing that goes along with tech companies so that I can get her clients too, or her people. Or maybe she sells cosmetics. Now, okay, I want to start getting a little bit more knowledgeable of cosmetics because maybe I can attract those people as well. So what kind of job do they have? What kind of car does she drive? Her kids, are they babies, kids, adults, teenagers? Like, try to go as deep as you can, because now you're going to understand your person truly and wholeheartedly, that you can now understand them. You can be, let's say, I'm going to go back to yours, TQ. I don't want you to think I'm forgetting about you. You can say something like, maybe she's a newly a mom of 1 and the kid is 3. Well, I don't know, that might not work because I wouldn't do it. Let's say the kid's 4, whatever, right? You now have to think, okay, I know you don't have a lot of time. I know time is money, and that's important to you because you want to be back at home as fast as you can to be with your kids. I do your headshots pretty quick and efficiently. We're just going to get in, do what we need to do. I'm going to make sure you got everything you need. And then by then you'll be able to make it home on time for whatever, before they get out of school, things like that. Or like you can start making content for like the busy mother that wants to learn how to, the 5 quick steps for newly mothers who want to learn how to cook faster. I don't know. You can start thinking about your ideal client, because now you have your person who's newly has a new kid, who's a woman and has all these things. How can I make their life easier? Or how can my product help them? Does that make sense? I feel like I talk too much.
It does.
Okay.
No, you explain it very well. But I do have a question. So it's more of also looking like multiple customer or client profiles. It's not just narrowing it down to one. You're just recommending to do it different ways possible, right?
Yeah. More so, well, still kind of 1, maybe 1 to 2, maybe a male and female. Because it also depends on your goal. Because if you want to be a general practitioner, then you might need a little bit more. But just also know that general practitioners might not make as much. Because, like, for example, at least for me, if I have a heart problem and I need open heart surgery, I'd rather have the cardiologist who knows the heart in and out versus somebody who works with a little bit of everything and probably never opens anybody up. Like, you have to think about it that way. Because if you want to be Walmart, it's going to be very hard. You have to bring your prices very low. And because especially somebody who's at 100K, they don't want something that anybody else can just get. That's why they shop at Gucci, because not many people can afford it as easily. So you have to pick your battles. Then you kind of have to niche down a little bit, because I know look, everybody says that saying the niches are in the riches are in the niches, but I mean by a little bit, it doesn't have to be so hardcore specific, but your target audience, I believe, does, because at least it doesn't mean it can't shift. It's better to have a shoot at that one little red target, try to hit it, and now try to like aim a little better. It can change over time, because you might start seeing actually, I'm getting these kind of clients. This is my new ideal. Let me try to get more people like them. You know what I mean? So, think of it as this is your target, literally. It doesn't mean that this is what you're going to hit only. Your target can always change, but it's, at least in my opinion, better to shoot for something than to shoot at nothing and hope you hit something. You know what I mean? Does that help a little?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thanks.
Cool. I want to try TQs. So she got, her person's name is Tammy. She lives in Toronto. She likes to ship thrift shop. She's 22, less than 10K. So they're a student, no kids. They have an online platform marketing for post-secondary students. Okay. And that works because now you know you might have to be a more higher volume. It's not going to be very boutique. It's not going to be like trying to get this one person and try to squeeze out as much money from that one person. You kind of are almost falling into the Walmart thing. Not that Walmart's bad. Everybody has a place in the world and everything serves a purpose, right? But yeah, if you're looking at 22, they have different values and different things that they care about. So they might not place a lot of value into very quality, expensive things, maybe, but like more so quality in the sense of like long term. And they might be in the short term game. So thrift store, so then you know that they're trying to save a buck. Because yeah, there are less than 10K. So now you have to think and imagine, okay, Tammy, when I'm making this content for her, like, I know you're struggling. You got a little bit less than 10K. You're not making much. I know you're the thrift shopper. You like using old new, making the old new. Here's something that's going to help you and get you to where you want to be. I hope that helps because I love playing this little game or doing this activity because now I can create these stories and I can start imagining, okay, what this person is like, and I can start making content for them. Yeah, this was cool. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share their multi-vendor marketplace? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, does anybody else want to share their ideal client? No, it's okay, I understand. Okay, kind of like okay, I get you. Because what I'm thinking about is like a bookstore type of thing. Okay, hold on. There we go. Cool. But yeah, I hope this helps. Do this with at least maybe 2 people. Make 2 profiles. You can even put like, because then you can start thinking of, if going back to the Gucci, what certain colors does Gucci use? You can start thinking about making your branding closer to that. Not so much copying again, because like I don't want to copy Target and make everything red and white. But I now know their reds are a little bit on the brighter side. So I can maybe pick a bright blue, or I can maybe pick a brighter green or something. And then maybe, for example, I think, what is it, black and gold? Maybe you can even copy that scheme because black and gold seems to be a little bit more universal. So that would be good as well. That we can start planning that out. So yeah, thank you for guys for playing along with me. Do this a little bit more deep dive in your own time, right? Now that you know you can at least do it for 5 minutes, you can do it another 5 minutes another time. Try to come up with 2 profiles, and this is going to help you immensely, I believe, because now at least you're going to have a target audience. Because now you can start thinking about demographics. You can start thinking about their household income, what kind of home it is. Is it single? Is it multifamily? Does that mean that your service can now not only get the whole family? So again, because I'm a photographer, I'm going to go on that one more time really quick. So let's say you're a newborn. From the newborn, you can go to the first year. From the first year, you can go to their high school. The high school, you can go to their wedding. And like you can now kind of branch off from there, if that makes sense. So thinking about how your demographic can also help other people, not just your target audience. Okay, so continuing on that a little bit, now look at your own social media right now. Does it reflect what we wrote down? Now, meaning it could be the verbiage you're using. It could be the colors that you're using. It could be what you're posting, what you're showing. So you want to take a look at your social media after this and then start thinking, okay, now that I have my target audience, now that I'm thinking about my brand, if my brand was a person, what kind of person would they be? Now you're thinking about, okay, what's something good to post and what's something not good to post? And how can I utilize all of my platforms that I'm in? I want to try to make this as cohesive as possible, so you can put this all together easily, and still make it doable and like believable or relatable enough, so that we can start looking at perhaps your own Instagram and start thinking, okay, I am seeing that my posts are a little bit too much about me and not about what I do. Or I know I have this problem right now. I want to shift. I'm posting a little too much of what I do and not so much about me. So you just got to find that little happy balance. And I would do the 80-20 rule. So 80% what you do, 20% about you. So people get to know who you are, because that's why people shop at Michael Kors, or people shop at whatever these like brand designers are, because they want that person that makes it more unique versus a generalized thing. So start thinking about that. I hope this helps.
Okay, so this is the video you just finished watching. I forgot how long it was. My bad. I tried to cut it down a little bit, but that being said, I really do hope that it helped, because I was thinking about it. Like, I almost wanted to like put some video together just last minute so I can keep to my, you know, 1 video a week rule, but I don't think that would have been helpful. So I think the thought process is I'd rather post something that I used before that only very few people saw, that now others can see, and it would be helpful too. Anyways, because I'm pretty sure this was a long video. I'm pretty sure I already lost half of you anyways. So the few that have stayed, hang on there just a little longer. So just a quick thing, the point of this channel, or why I'm even doing these videos, I kind of want to show the transition from being a full-time photographer to being a full-time designer. I'm still going to do photography, but like I'm trying to make design the steak dinner. So I thought this would be kind of cool to document, because I'm pretty sure somebody out there is transitioning from designer to photographer, from photographer to videoto. It's something, right? So I'm bringing you along on the journey. I'll talk about why in another video, because if not, I'll make this like a 3-hour long video. But yeah, I hope this helped, because everything that, you know, this is helping me with my own transition too. So hopefully it was a refresher, it was a good refresher for me. And if this is something brand new, then like that, even better, right, for you. So see you next week. Thanks for hanging in there. I know it's kind of long, so I appreciate it. But yeah, next video, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll make sure that it is helpful some way, somehow, and kind of like bring you into my world a little bit. Anyways, because I talk too much. Take it easy. Thank you for coming, and then I'll see you next week.